just play.
We're not playing when they're talking and stuff. We're gonna just stand up.
No, you said that. That's us.
That's it.
You don't have to play now, Steve. We're just gonna play something. That's us. Let's play. Let's play morning dance. Morning dance. Sean, can you pass me a program? Can you pass me a program? Sure.
Good morning, everyone. A happy Charter Day to you all. Early Charter Day, because it's actually tomorrow. But thank you for coming. Welcome. My name is Charlene Harris. I am the Vice President for Information Services and Institutional Assessment. I am your Mistress of Ceremonies for today, for this morning, and you are in for a treat. We're going to have a beautiful ceremony. You were already greeted with wonderful music, and we will keep that going, showcasing some of the programs at the university in celebration of our Charter Day. So a happy early Charter Day to you. As I said, it is tomorrow, actually, but we gather today to celebrate the 62nd Charter Day anniversary of the university. So 62 years ago, tomorrow, the university was chartered. So we welcome you all, students, faculty, staff, board members. We have Dr. Lois Haptes, Dr. Christensen here, our student trustee, Jakima Fleming, board members, thank you for joining us. President Hall. We also have, I saw Senator Blyden, thank you for joining us. Cabinet members, friends, family, joining us in the Albert E. Sheen Campus, Cafetorium in St. Croix, and here with us in this room, the LaVerne E. Ragster Administration and Conference Center. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning. To get us started, Tamia Grant, current Miss, well, she's a past Miss UVI. She is current SGA president. Will join us for provide us some remarks.
Esteemed guests, UVI faculty, staff, students, and all others who have joined us today in this celebration, good morning. As we gather here today, we celebrate a proud legacy of Black excellence at the University of the Virgin Islands. Chartered 62 years ago, UVI stands not only as an institution of higher learning, but as a beacon of hope and opportunity for our community. One of the most remarkable aspects of UVI is its distinction as the only historically Black college and university located outside of the continental United States. This unique position not only sets us apart, but also highlights our commitment to diversity, inclusivity, and the celebration of our African American and Caribbean heritage and culture. At UVI, we understand the significance of our historical roots and the impact they have on shaping our identity and our mission. We stand on the shoulders of those who have paved the way for us to thrive in an environment that embraces our rich cultural heritage while providing world-class education and opportunities for all. For students, being a part of UVI means more than just earning a degree. It means being a part of a diverse community that fosters growth, empowerment, and excellence. It means gaining access to resources, mentorship, and systems that are tailored to our unique needs and aspirations. As we celebrate 62 years of academic achievement and progress, let us reaffirm our commitment to upholding the values of integrity, excellence, and service that have guided us throughout our journey. Let us continue to honor the legacy of those who came before us by striving for excellence in everything we do and by empowering future generations to reach their fullest potential. Together, let us embrace our identity as innovators, creators, and leaders, and let us continue to make a difference in our community and beyond. Happy 62nd anniversary, UVI. Here is to many more years of excellence and impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamia. Throughout the ceremony this morning, you will be greeted with, as she said, growth, empowerment, and excellence. And you will see how our students and our programs exhibit that growth, empowerment, and excellence. We will now welcome President David Hall, who will share his Charter Day address.
Good morning. Charter Day is not a funeral. It is a celebration. Good morning. It is my honor to welcome you as well. As VP Harris indicated, we have wonderful guests, our trustees who are here. Senator Blyden, we are glad to have you here as well. Our keynote speaker, who I will introduce in a little while, Dr. Trent. We are delighted that you have come all the way from Washington, D.C. through trials and tribulations to be with us. My wife, Dr. Marilyn Braithwaite Hall, we are glad to have you here. This is also a birthday week for her as well. And of course, Charter Day would not be Charter Day if Dion Parson and these wonderful musicians were not here. That has been one of the wonderful additions to our Charter Day, to have this beautiful music. But you will hear from our students, you will hear from faculty, administrators, as we go through this process. But personally, I am so delighted to have all of you here. Why do we celebrate Charter Day? Why do we gather in these rooms and even in cyberspace for moments like these? What is the purpose of these events in the larger scheme of things? The answers to these questions are simple and yet profound. When something special and significant occurs that changes the reality for people, then it is important to pause and to reflect on the moment that that idea was born. Events, circumstances, institutions, and people come into existence, and we need to reflect on the moment of conception and birth, because we gain a deeper appreciation for how that moment occurred and the impact that it has had on people and on life. Individuals 62 years ago were able, through their determination and creativity, to give life to an idea, to feed a yearning, to fill a void, and to change all of our lives. The visionaries and founders of this institution did not know any of us in this room, and yet they did something that changed and enriched each of our lives. That reality is worth celebrating and appreciating, how a moment can change eternity. And so we gather to capture, through these gatherings, that same creative process, so that the things we do, so that the activities that we engage in within this university and in the community will have that same profound effect on future generations. If we only come here to hear eloquent speeches and beautiful music, then we lose the true essence of Charter Day, and we miss its greater meaning. This is a moment that should give us a license to think about how we can shape the future of this institution for however long we're here. That challenge and that mandate applies to those of us who are administrators and faculty and staff, but it also applies to our students, because our students are not just here to learn. They are here to change us and to change this institution. We all contain within us the spirit to create new Charter Days through the charting of new ideas, the charting of new experiences and new relationships that singularly may not change reality, but when we combine them with the collective energies and power of those around us, can be truly transformative. So as we go through this program today, as we attend the concert tomorrow and afternoon on the Green on Sunday, let us look for those chartering moments, those insights that we have within us that can change life around us. It is so easy to be an observer of life. It is sometimes satisfying to be a critic of institutions and people. But today we pause to remind ourselves that we can also be creators and not just critics, that we can transform life and not just observe life. And finally, one of the special aspects of being president of the university is that you get to be the voice, the spokesperson for the genius of others. I get the precious opportunity to tell part of the story of this university, and I have been telling that story for 15 years, yet what I have shared only captures a small part of what this institution does and continues to contribute to this society every day and every year. In the church in which I grew up, there was this familiar line in a prayer, and it was also a saying, which said, out of a deep respect to God, and I quote, "If I had 10,000 tongues, I couldn't thank you enough." End of quote. Well, if I had 10,000 tongues, I couldn't tell all of what this collective group of dedicated and brilliant people have done for the last 15 years and even prior to my arrival. So with the one tongue that I have, I just want to say on this Charter Day that UVI is a very special institution. It is a place where ordinary people do extraordinary things with limited resources. We turn, as my mother and fathers would say, we turn cow ears into silk purses. We make lemonade out of borrowed lemons. We build programs, engage in research, inspire students, obtain external funding at levels that exceed expectations. So on this Charter Day, we celebrate this phenomenal creative success done by people who are often overlooked. We have so much on Charter Day and every day to be proud of. And what you experience during this creative moment should remind us of how special you are, how special the people were who came before us, and just how special the future will be for this institution because you passed this way and dropped some seeds that will create wonderful orchards in the future. We are not perfect, but this institution is very profound. Happy Charter Day.
Now, Dr. Hall mentioned the wonderful music. I said it at the start as well. You were greeted with beautiful music as you entered the room. We will now hear another selection by Dean Parson and friends.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Charter Day. I'm Dean Parson. I'm the chair of the Communication and Performing Arts Department, and it's an absolute honor to be here. Before we perform, I just want to take this time on this specific special day to thank Dr. Hall. And I'm doing it for a reason, because he's the reason I'm here. And Dr. Hall reached out to me many years ago after I did a concert here and invited me to join the staff and faculty at UVI. I was touring the world, I was doing my thing. Education was not in my purview, even though I studied it, but 30 years on the road, I wasn't thinking about it. But he did a good job convincing me. And I've been here for 10 years. My first couple of years was as an artist in residence, and then I was able to be the director of the music program. Now I'm the chair of the Communication and Performing Arts Department. And it's been an amazing journey. And I just want to take the time to thank you for inviting me and convincing me to be here. The reason why I'm doing that is because he's leaving us, and we're going to miss him. I'm going to miss him because he's not only the president, but he's someone that I admire and respect highly, and he's been a mentor, and he's allowed me to do some wonderful things here at the music department, and you're going to hear the result of that. So join me in welcoming to the stage on bass, Mr. Uriel Rogers. Mr. Rogers did not attend UVI for his degree, but he's been an active participant in our many, many ensembles on a regular basis, and he's never said no. He's just showed up to perform. So thank you for being here. He left his job to come and perform for you today. On piano, this gentleman, the first time he played at UVI was at Charter Day about 8 years ago, when we were performing here in the BVI, and I got a call from Ms. Dyer asking the night before, can you provide music tomorrow? And we had just came back from the BVI, and I was dropping the guys off at the hotel, and I just turned to everyone and said, we have another gig tomorrow, and we just playing. And they was like, what's the gig? I was like, just be ready at 8 o'clock in the morning. I brought the whole band here to play, and that was the first time our piano faculty, Mr. Carlton Holmes, have played here. So let's welcome Mr. Holmes. On saxophone, one of our UVI alum that has done great things while he was here. He's now doing wonderful things in the community, a dear friend, a mentor. He's doing great things. So Mr. Sherwin Williams. And we talked about the wonderful things, the wonderful students we have here. I would like to bring to the stage Miss Amy Manshari from St. Martin, our music education voice major. And another music education voice major, Mr. RJ Felix, and they're going to join us. And my childhood friend, someone that I knew growing up playing music, and she was a faculty at UVI for a short period. I call her Miss America because she's all that. Miss Lorna Freeman. And we're joined today by a gentleman that, well, I should just say, you guys have heard this saying, live from New York is Saturday night. I have to do that. So the first time we played it, I was actually performing with this gentleman. I brought him in to do a special presentation, Jazz in the Dark and other things. And he's a friend. I've taught his son to play drums. He's a mentor. We toured the world for almost 20 years. I've recorded with him a number of recordings. He was the #1 trombone player for many years by Downbeat, which is an amazing jazz magazine. and he's still the #1 miscellaneous instrument person, musician for the conch shells, and you'll hear some of that today. Please welcome Mr. Steve Torre. So, in honor of this special day, the Charter Day of UVI, we're going to perform a composition by Bill Withers, which a little bird told me is one of Dr. Hall's favorite songs. It's entitled Lovely Day. Enjoy.
a few adjectives. Beautiful, wonderful. Do we add any others? Special. Do we add any others to this? Jubilant, spectacular, fabulous. Did it make anybody want to shed a tear? Unfortunately, it did me. Because UVI gives me a lovely day every day. Okay. So, as I said, annually during Charter Day, we showcase the products of our academic programs. Right now, we want to welcome Dr. Paul Jobsis, the director of the Center for Marine and Environmental Studies. He will enlighten us on the exciting research being undertaken in that unit. Time him. He said 5 minutes isn't enough.
Good morning. Good morning. Can we get another round of applause for Deanna and his friends? Really, really impressive. Always love to be part of that. I was reflecting while sitting there about some of the things that Dr. Hall said about how UVI influences things, changes the future, and it certainly has changed my life and changed my future. I came here 20 years ago, all set to be a professor, not really do much in research. I was like, that's UVI, they just teach, I'm happy. Got here, and there was a small program starting up called NSF EPSCoR, that's the National Science Foundation experimental program to stimulate competitive research, and they said, you got to do research now. I was like, oh, okay, let me see what I'm going to do. So I started doing a little, they were very patient with me, started getting some publications, getting things done, doing research back on the state side as well. And then in 2013, I became the director of the Center for Marine Environmental Studies. At that point, there were about 16 employees, and that was fine. And we had an EPSCoR grant that was about $20 million. That's a lot of money. But most of that was administration and going to other things. But with that, we were able to hire people. And so I want to talk a little bit about how we support research and how we grow programs. So with that EPSCoR money, National Science Foundation money, we were able to hire some top-notch researchers, bring them in, have them start teaching some classes, but writing grants for more, right? In 2016, Henry Smith, who was the director of the EPSCoR program, retired. He gave me the responsibility for spending the remainder of the EPSCoR money. That was about $1 million a year. And we were making, the other grants were about $800,000 a year. I thought we were doing great. So go along, Kim Waddell comes in as new director. We get another EPSCoR grant, 2020. We are now, again, another EPSCoR grant, but now we're at about $2.5 million worth of grants outside EPSCoR because of these people we've been able to bring in, right? And then last year, we're at $7.5 million. This year, so far, 6 months, 4.5. So we're well on the way to $9 million of research a year. So that's great. You know, a lot of money. Yeah, it's great. But why? So we can change the future here. We can research things like coral reefs, mangroves restoration, what we're doing, which will protect our coastlines, coral reef restoration, which will protect our coastlines, fisheries research, which will protect our fisheries. And we can do that and then continue to grow the program. That also inspires students. Students who do research are shown to be much more likely to stay involved in school, to graduate, to go on to graduate schools, and things like that. We now have a graduate program, about 16 students each year. All of them are now fully funded. That means they get most of their salaries, stipend, about $24,000-25,000 a year. They get their tuition covered, and they can get a school year. So that's important, especially here in the territory where things are expensive, right? So with that, we are sort of changing the future by educating these people. And a couple of quick little asides. Last year, 3 of my students won awards at an international sea turtle symposium. 3 out of the 8, that was great. This year, one of my students is getting a championship award at that same international program. So that was, thank you. So we are, through these programs, we are changing much more than just the student lives, just the research here. We're changing things globally. And so I couldn't be prouder of those students. But to wrap this up, we need to support students. They'll stay in the money, they'll stay involved, they'll do other things. But the research that we do is important locally, but it's also important to the university. It is a revenue stream to the university. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think like, oh, you got that money, that's great for you. But of course, that brings in money through indirect cost. So this year, the university as a whole is on pace to bring in about $2.5 million of IDC money. That's just to the university. They can use that as they need, right? That's a big revenue stream to the university. Now, we need to build that. We need to build programs within the accounting, within HR, within the office-sponsored programs, purchasing. All that needs to grow. But with that, we can grow the university, and we can do that while providing opportunities. So I'm really glad that Dr. Trent is here. Hopefully she can tell us about some more opportunities. And we can grow a UVI. I mean, it's already a world-class institution, but we can grow it even more. So with that, I'd like to thank you and thank Dr. Hall for giving me this opportunity.
Dr. Trent, our keynote, will be touring the CMES facility this afternoon as well. So Dr. Jobsis, you get to see and hear more. Next on our program is an address by Aaliyah Boston. She has many commitments, so she's running late, but we will hear from her later. As you know, she's a proud Virgin Islander and who has risen to national and international acclaim. With that, she maintains a presence in the territory. She gives back, hosting events for younger women in the islands with basketball and other activities. So we will hear from her later. We move on then to yet another musical selection by Dean Parson and Friends. Save your adjectives, there's going to be a test.
Thank you. The next composition we're going to perform is a composition written for Frank Sinatra. He made it famous, and it's entitled "I Did It My Way." Tribute to Dr. Hall. While we're setting up, you could do what you want to do with that. While we're setting up, I would also like to take the time to recognize our Dean of Class, Dr. Kimmery Imgerman, and I want to thank her for all of the support that she's given, not only music, but all of the programs in the Communication and Performing Arts Department. And thanks for coming and visit us this weekend and hanging out from the big sister island in St. Croix. Enjoy. I Did It My Way.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll make it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway. Oh, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too much to mention. I did what I had to do. I saw it through without exception. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. More, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. And in it all, I stood tall. You did. And did it my Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up, I chewed it out. For more than mine, and I stood still and did it
What do we add this time? Wow is not enough. What are we saying? Okay, woo, there, there are goosebumps, okay? So thank you so much, Ian Parson and friends. Ms. Freeman, this was wonderful. So continuing to showcase the work of our academic programs, we have a poem to be recited by students in a communications class taught by Dr. Sharon Honoré. Two of these students will introduce the poem and their production process.
Good morning. I am Kalina Nilsson.
And my name is William Steger.
And we are the proud students of Dr. Sharon Honoré. On behalf of the UVI Communication Unit in the Department of Communication and Performing Arts, today we are going to introduce a video presentation that was created by the students in the Communication Unit. We would like to thank Dr. Hall for introducing this prose because it is very inspirational and provided opportunities to incorporate the, to incorporate the meanings of some very deep content into our daily lives. One of the memories we hold about Dr. Honoré, Dr. Hall, include his genuine interest in the welfare of UVI students. During our time here, and for a total of 15 years, he has been consistent about sharing his knowledge and experiences with the UVI student body.
Obviously, the wisdom he passed on to us instills in us every day. Our valuable leadership and being valuable citizens of the world and globally astute and prepared to contribute to society. Our different classes has researched, journalism, workshop, and rhetorical criticism examined the text and discussed the author. This popular poem was made into a book and translated into more than 9 languages. We also heard it's Dr. Hall's favorite. We hope you enjoy our rendition of the invitation by Orion Mountain Dreamer.
The Invitation, Mountain Dreamer. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for. And if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing.
It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive.
It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you touch the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain.
I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes, without cautioning us to be careful, be realistic, remember the limitations of being human.
It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it's not pretty every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence.
I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to shiver of the full moon, yes.
It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children.
It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied.
I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Harkening back to Tamia's words, the excellence of our students. We are joined by Ms. Aaliyah Boston. President Hall, if you'd please introduce her.
It is always special when individuals who grew up even for a short time in this environment, walking these streets and being a part of this community, go on and do great things. It's just a wonderful reflection of the beauty of this place, the excellence and resilience of this place called the Virgin Islands. And Aaliyah Boston captures that. Someone who all of us know of having excelled in college as a basketball player and as a student. We saw her achieving and striving for, obtaining and striving for championships. And then we watched with anticipation as she was drafted into the WNBA and has become a star in her early years there. And so it is such a special time on Charter Day to have her come and share words with us to inspire our students to follow the path that she has walked, but to inspire all of us to be proud of those moments. So it is my honor as president to welcome Aaliyah Boston to this Charter Day celebration and to welcome her to UVI. One of the things that allowed us to be able to do this is that she is using her talents and skills for this community and has a program at the UVI Sports and Fitness Center for the youth of this community. So as she reaches to higher heights, she is reaching to help others do the same. Please join me in welcoming Aaliyah Boston.
Good afternoon, everyone. Super excited that I'm able to be here and talk to you guys about my journey and things that I've been able to face and overcome and just the entire process of it. It's crazy to think that this started at such a young age where, before I even picked up a basketball, where my sister and I learned the power of your tongue. We learned that anything you speak, that is what you want to pass because of God's word. And just thinking back to the days, I remember a story as simple as my mom driving in a parking lot and she says, "Oh, we're never going to find a parking spot." And I said, "Mom, don't say that. We're going to find a parking spot." And well and behold, guess what we did? Thank you. And so at such a young age, that honestly was a great example of how simple but yet how powerful your words are. And to think back to when I started playing basketball around the age of 9, my mom talked to my sister and I about the ability and the doors that God can open through this sport. And for me, that was really special, and that's something that I connected to right away, because I remember just continuously talking about, if anyone asked me what I wanted to do, it was, I want to go to college and I want to come out debt-free. Like, that was the line that I said continuously. Like, it just wasn't I want to go to college, but I don't want to come out with any type of debt. And I remember a story of someone, almost telling me to dream smaller. Don't dream as big as where I want to go. And I remember just looking to my mom. We were in Round a Field working out about 6 a.m. And I was like, why can't I go to a big school and also shine? And it's just crazy to think how at such a young age, the power of your words was instilled in me. And I have taken that to every single place that I go now. Like, I speak life over myself. I speak life over my family. And I think that's something that is important for each and every one of us in here, because no matter what you say, no matter what you believe, like that is what you want to happen. And God's word is powerful. And so understanding that and being able to live life the way that you want to is definitely a priority. And now I'm thinking, hey, I've moved to the States. I'm almost accomplishing my dreams of going to a school and coming out debt-free, and I'm able to do that. So that is a really exciting moment for me, exciting moment for my family. But it hasn't always been perfect. And I think that's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of understanding the process and staying true to the process and God, because freshman year got cut short because of COVID. Sophomore year, we made it to the Final Four, and I missed the putback to send us to the national championship game. And basketball has always been a really crucial part of my life. Like, I think right now I'm finding out more about who I am outside of basketball, which I think is really important for me. But in that moment, it felt like everything was over. Like, why would I miss that shot? Like, that is something that I can practice. That is something I work at. And here I am missing a simple shot in front of the rim. I guarantee you 9 out of 10 times I make that shot. And I just remember the struggles that I had to deal with. I couldn't watch basketball. I didn't even watch the championship game because I was like, that should be me. But one thing that I've been able to learn through this entire process is everything happens for a reason. And next year we came back and we won the national championship game, and I won most outstanding player. And I think, you think like if we had won sophomore year, would that have been my same motivation coming into the next year? You never know, but that's the beauty of it all, is that everything happens. You just have to continue to trust. And God is the one that gives you strength through it all. And that is something that I had to continue to learn. And I think right now I've been able to get to that point in my life that I really understand that, hey, if it didn't happen in this time, it wasn't meant for me. And I set really high goals for myself overall. And one of the goals was to get drafted to the WNBA. It wasn't when I was little and I said, I'm going to go to college, come out debt-free. It was really just, I want to get drafted. But I think halfway through or my freshman year of college, or even going into sophomore year, I was like, I want to be the #1 pick. And that motivated me to putting in the extra work, to doing what I need to do to continue to build on my faith, because I know that everything is possible through God. And being able to be that #1 pick brought so much excitement, because not everyone can say that they are #1 pick in a draft for a professional league, but not a lot of us come from the Virgin Islands to even say that. And so for me, it was really great to be able to continue to shine light on the Virgin Islands and the amount of talent that we have here, whether that's in sports or in anything that you want to do. And so I was really excited about it. But then that excitement kind of toned down a little bit. In my first preseason game, I went against Tierra McCowan. I know you guys see me, but Tierra McCowan is a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger, and she has a lot more strength, and I felt that. The first possession, it was like 10 seconds into the game, guys. Let me tell you something. You never want to pick up a foul, especially 10 seconds into the game. So when I did, I was like, oh boy, this could be a long night. And long night it was. I fouled out, and why is that funny? This is my profession, guys. And you guys think that's funny. Okay, whatever. So I picked up a foul, and I remember going straight to social media after the game because I fouled out, and I was like, I can only imagine what everyone has to say. And I was quick to find out because they actually didn't even try to hide it. They tagged me, which is actually quite worse because I didn't even have to search. It was just in the mentions. And so I was like, okay, well, this is spectacular. And I could remember all of the comments telling me, oh, she's not going to be successful. Oh, she fouled out in her first preseason game. This is why someone else could have been a #1 pick. And you have all these thoughts. But I think that goes to show the strength of having faith and knowing what God has for you is for you. Because I could have listened in those moments and I could have said, oh gosh, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should have stayed an extra year in college. But I didn't. I prayed over it. I cried. If this is recording, don't let the people know I cried over their thoughts. We could just edit that. It's literally fine. I take it back. Let's go back a couple steps. I looked at it. I was like, these people can't get to me. And then I came in and I had a successful rookie year. Our team did better than they have in the past couple of years. And I was able to win Rookie of the Year. I was an all-star starter. And it just goes to show that, oh, thanks guys. It just goes to show that you can't let one moment or something define your entire future, because that's not the case. But I also think I'm gonna wrap it up, I promise guys, I know, is the power of social media. Social media is such an impact, especially on us younger kids, younger adults, because everyone has something to say, everyone has their thoughts, everyone wants to compare each other to the next person, and that's what you can't do. The sermon last Sunday, Mom, I paid attention in the sermon. I was good. It was talking about being content with where you are because, once again, God knows the plans. And so you can't compare, you can't compete to the person next to you, and I think that's one of the biggest things, but one of the biggest things that I also want everyone to really understand is that your path is not the same as the person to your left, not the same as the person to your right, or front or the back. And so embracing that, being in that moment. But honestly, thank you for listening. That's about it.
Thank you, because I think I'm a little speechless after that one, too. So the wows and the woos do it. But Aliyah mentioned the power of our words. You know, we have to believe in ourselves and setting high goals, right? We are students, faculty, staff, whomever we are. It doesn't end. It's not over. We continue to learn. We continue to grow. We move on now to our next speaker. So we've talked about our students. UVI has phenomenal students who are provided small class sizes and the world of opportunities. You heard from a few of our gems with Tamia, the rising poets. Next, we'll hear from Ms. Jakima Fleming, also a previous Miss UVI and SGA president, who is now student trustee to the Board of Trustees and HBCU White House Scholar. Jakima.
All right, hello everyone and good day. Happy Charter Day. Okay, so I've been tasked with speaking a little bit about myself and my experience here at UVI. This is not my first rodeo on the mic, but I never quite often speak about myself. I still find it very uncomfortable. So today I am creating a blend of speaking about UVI and how it has impacted me as a student. As I stand before you today, I am honored to represent the spirit and the legacy of UVI. As a student leader, and not just a scholar, but an HBCU White House Scholar. The first, along with my other scholar, Michael Bell, the first two UVI scholars to make it on the list. I am here to speak about the power of UVI and how it holds a special place, not just in the hearts of everyone who is sitting here today, but in the USVI's territory. UVI, as Tamia mentioned earlier, continues to be a beacon of excellence and opportunity for generations of students. In 1989, the United States Congress named UVI one of America's historically Black colleges and universities. Since then, UVI's significance as an HBCU has contributed to the legacy of providing higher education to our people near and far. As the first ever, and I do mean ever, because there's no auntie, uncle, grandmother, cousins that I know of who has ever attended university in my family, I stand before you proudly as an attendee. Not a graduate as yet, but I better get that degree or else I'll never get to live it down at family gatherings. UVI's commitment to diversity, inclusion, and empowerment has empowered me to overcome many obstacles and achieve success beyond my wildest dreams. From representing our institution on the national level, winning the Miss HBCU Hall of Fame competition, to pitching at NASA's Goddard Space Station, to having dinner with Vice President Kamala Harris at her private residence, I've made many rich experiences while here. UVI's significance as an HBCU has cultivated many Black excellence through an environment that nurtures the intellectual, cultural, and professional development of its students. Through my experiences at UVI, I have not only grown academically, but also personally and professionally. From serving as 2 times SGA president with a record-breaking 126 activities forging engagement, inclusion, and community, to founding the Student Leadership Council, who is currently doing great work being of service to the wider USVI territory through service projects and volunteering. UVI has provided me with countless opportunities, not just to lead, but to serve and to bring others along with me. UVI's significance as an HBCU is through its promotion of diversity and inclusion. We welcome students from diverse backgrounds, fostering a rich tapestry of cultural diversity and inclusivity. My journey at UVI has been nothing short of transformative. Born in St. Kitts, I came to UVI with a mission, though at that time I did not know I was quite ready to take on. You see, I faced many adversities from a young age, battling poverty in a single mother, 7 children household, disability, suffering from Marfan syndrome, a hereditary disorder that causes eyes and heart issues. 2, losing my father to gun violence. Yet, despite it all, it was here at UVI that I found family and people who truly believed in me, people who truly inspired me. At UVI, we have a president who leads with yes, very, very seldom no's. And so even during my toughest times that I've made private for a very long time, battling homelessness, our president never told me no. During the COVID period when I needed laptop devices to be able to be in online courses, he never said no. He is backed by a great tribe with his vice presidents and cabinets. Here at UVI, everyone genuinely wants to see our students succeed. And even if it means going out of their way to help them with scholarships, when they're facing being dropped from their classes, getting emails from the cashier department saying, you have a balance on your account. If you do not pay this amount, you will have to be removed from your classes. That is the greatness that lives within UVI, where no one is left behind. Now, I did tell Director Una Dyer that I'm not going to be long, so I'll wrap it up very briefly. But I cannot do so without first acknowledging in our presence today, Dr. Dietra Trent. Dr. Dietra Trent has been serving in what can be described as one of the most important appointments for our national HBCU community. Director for the White House Initiative on HBCUs. It's Women's History Month, and we honor you duly, not only as the first African-American woman to be in this role, but to be the first director who has graced us with your presence on our campus. Thank you and welcome. Ultimately, I want to end by saying, let us take pride in the great gem that is our UVI. Because here, every individual matters, and every connection is meaningful. We may not have the grandeur of larger institutions, but what we lack in size, we make up for in heart. We are a community where everyone knows your name and cares about your success. It's a place where you can truly make a difference and leave your mark, knowing that your contributions are seen and appreciated by all. We had a poem already, so I'm not sure if I should go through with this, but I did take the time out to write it. So I'll end with a small poem that I call Seeing My Alma Mater by the Sea. God forbid the darkness dims our sight, and we can make no more memories of the light. What would we then reminisce on when we cannot see? It's in our memories we'll find the key to cherish the times when we were all we could be. For me, it's here at my alma mater by the sea. Let not these opportunities pass us by as we reach for the stars in the sky. For what answer will we have to give to the maybes, could haves, should haves, and what ifs? What answers will we have to show for the path we chose not to go? To the people we missed to impress our marks, to the lives we could have changed if we'd ignited the spark. No Aggie, Howard, Spelman, or Brown could replace the love that I have found, which with the rise of each new dawn, I can proudly say, I be repping my UVI night and day. For in my alma mater's embrace, I'll strive to find my rightful place. No obstacle shall hinder me as I become all I can be at my alma mater by the sea. Thank you.
Thank you, Jakima. I will say, I don't know if it's anybody else, this has been one emotional Charter Day ceremony. We will next have our keynote speaker, who will be introduced by President Hall.
Well, for the moment we've all been waiting on, it is my honor to introduce to you our keynote speaker for our 2024 Charter Day celebration. We have been fortunate to have outstanding local and national speakers to grace us with their presence on Charter Day, and today is no exception. HBCUs play an essential role in the educational arena, both historically and in the present. Without them, countless individuals would never have received an education. Without them, the injustice in this society perpetrated for centuries would have been deeper and more devastating than what it was, and in some respects still is. Without them, the culture of people enslaved, demeaned, and denied would not be as vibrant, creative, and transformative as it is today. HBCUs are not relics of the past that we hold on to in a new era. They are essential tools of the present to address the educational challenges and social challenges that this nation faces. And therefore, to be one of the key spokespersons, advocates, and caretakers of this sacred collection of institutions is a special honor and opportunity bestowed upon special individuals. The person who serves as the executive director of the White House Initiative for HBCUs is close to the center of ultimate political power in the United States, but is also close to the trenches where these special institutions operate on a daily basis. It is the combining of these two perspectives that ensures that these institutions are supported by the President of the United States and by various governmental entities, the private sector, and Congress. For the last few years, this mantle has been carried by Dr. Dietra Trent. She has been a strong and eloquent advocate for this legacy, tradition, and collection of institutions. Dr. Trent has a distinguished background, having served in various capacities. She served as Chief of Staff for the President of George Mason University and Interim VP for Compliance, Diversity, and Ethics. She was Secretary of Education for the Commonwealth of Virginia after serving as Deputy Secretary of Education and Director of Constituent Services in the state administration. Dr. Trent has experience at the federal policy level as well. She previously worked in the office of Congressman Bobby Scott, who has served as chair of the House Education and Labor Committee. Dr. Trent earned her bachelor's degree in sociology and criminal justice from Hampton University, a very distinguished HBCU, which has educated many Virgin Islanders. Her master's and doctor's degree in public administration and policy came from Virginia Commonwealth University. I invited Dr. Trent to serve as our keynote speaker because I knew she would be an appropriate person to share insights and wisdoms with all of us gathered about the importance of HBCUs and the importance of this moment, this educational moment that is occurring nationwide. But I also wanted her to be exposed to and aware of this very special institution. I wanted her to know firsthand that in the midst of the beautiful waters of the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, that there resides this special institution across 2 small islands where great things happen every day. I want her to help tell our story and for her to have an even greater understanding of what we are about and be a greater advocate for our needs. So it is indeed an honor for me to present to you our keynote speaker for the 2024 Charter Day celebration, the Executive Director of the White House Initiative for HBCUs, Dr. Dietra Trent.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Hall, for that wonderful introduction. I have a speech, but I want to tell you guys that it's been 24 hours for me getting here. It's been a long road. And I have to tell you that when I got on the plane this morning, they told me I was going to be late, and I said, I cannot be late anymore. I've pushed the envelope. If I'm a minute late, they're going to think didn't want to be here. But it was a very frustrating night, and it was a very frustrating morning. It started this morning at 4 o'clock. I had a plane that left at 7, or was supposed to leave at 7. It was close to 8 when they left, and at 8 o'clock I just said, God, it's in your hands. I can't do anything else about it. But fortunately, I am here. But I say all of that to just say that I got here and I saw a glimpse of the water, and I was like, wow, that's beautiful, but I'm still rushing, right? And then I got here and I sat down and I heard President Hall's speech. And it was just amazing to me just to hear his words and how much pride he has in this university. And then I heard, oh my God, Miss America and these folks. I thought I was going to float out of here, like seriously. And then the students came. SGA president and her words, and Aaliyah, she's gone. Aaliyah is a star, and she's an extraordinary athlete. But she's a star in her own right because she knows who she is and where she came from, and that is amazing. And then Jakima, and this young lady, let me just tell you something. You and Michael have set such a high bar. I promise you, we're going to come back to UVI over and over and over again because you guys are doing an amazing job representing this university. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. And I just want to sum up my feelings this morning. I thought, you know, there is an amazing spirit in this place. And it doesn't have anything to do with the water or the blue sand or anything else. It is this place, this university. And that to me is just, I feel like I literally do feel like I'm just floating right now, because when you have that kind of camaraderie, when you have that kind of love and admiration for what you do every day, it is just palatable. And I just want to say thank you all for what you do each and every day. President Hall said, and I'm going to quote him from this day forward, that students are not here just to learn, but they are here to make us better. And I want you all to know that I am going home a much better person because of this opportunity. So thank you. So what an amazing treat for me to be here, to be with you as you celebrate 62 years since the signing of your charter. To President Hall and to Mrs. Hall, Board of Trustees, former Congresswoman Donna Christensen, elected officials, students, faculty, family, and friends, I bring greetings, heartfelt congratulations on behalf of President Biden and Vice President Harris. I also want to congratulate, I don't think Dr. George is here, and understand she's somewhere on the island, but I do want to just congratulate her and look forward to working with her in the coming months. Dr. Hall, you have no idea what an honor it is for me to have received this invitation. I've been so excited about this trip, no wonder I had so much trouble being here. I think I packed for this trip a month ago. That's just how much I've been looking forward to it. But anyway, over the years, the U.S. Virgin Islands has been my go-to place when I needed to escape. And trust me, after 3 years of living in the District of Columbia and the hyper-political, ever-increasingly divisive U.S. capital, escaping to this warm, beautiful Caribbean island is exactly what I need. So I just want to again thank you for the honor to participate in this glorious event, but also to visit this beautiful HBCU campus. So UVI, I'm sure this moment is bittersweet as you reflect over the last 15 years under President Hall's leadership. He has a unique style about him, a swag of sort, I would say, that garners much respect among the HBCU community, and I know he will be missed. Over the years, I've learned a lot about leadership, like, leadership is not about a position or profession, but it's about a posture. It's about your posture. And only when you assume a posture to serve can you truly lead others to discover their best. Leadership is not about occupation, title, or career, but it's about your calling. And that's why Dr. Hall's leadership has been so impactful. UVI has been his calling, not his career, not his job, but his calling. In his fall 2009 convocation address, President Hall placed the University of the Virgin Islands on a pathway to greatness. At the time, he stated that his charge was to give the UVI community license to dream again, to believe in each other again, and to reach for the stars of greatness. And that is exactly what he did. Under his leadership, completion and retention rates have increased. Academic programs have been added or revamped. UVI's research portfolio has increased thanks to Dr. Hall and Dr. Jopsies, and it's also been diversified. Your overall statue has been elevated throughout the country, and most importantly, countless UVI graduates have moved on to make profound marks in the world. Please join me, everyone, again. I know you've done this a million times, but you can't do it enough in thanking President Hall for all that he has done and for all that he's poured into this great university. As you embark on your 62nd year in existence, I know you do so with tremendous pride. You have much to celebrate as you pause to reflect your journey. 10 years after you were chartered, UVI was designated a land-grant college. 15 years later, UVI was designated as one of America's HBCUs. And that's what I want to celebrate today: the legacy of this great institution and HBCUs as a whole. HBCUs have a rich and proud history grounded in the virtues of excellence, service, and leadership. From your original inception as the College of the Virgin Islands, this institution has served our nation under these same principles. And though we celebrate UVI's 62nd year of existence, your heritage spans nearly 2 centuries, when the first HBCU, Cheyney University, was established. The year was 1837, nearly 30 years prior to the end of slavery, and 20 years before the Supreme Court's Dred Scott decision. Cheyney was birthed during one of the most tumultuous times in U.S. history, a time when African Americans were considered chattel, 3/5 of a person, when it was literally illegal for blacks to learn to read and write. Yet, in the midst of America's most atrocious and inhumane era, Cheyney prevailed and remains today. Cheyney's story is UVI's story and the story of every other HBCU in this country. It is a story of pride, one that is unwavering in faith, unbreakable in spirit, and undeniably courageous, resilient, and triumphant. HBCUs grew out of communities of faith who had the audacity to believe they could accomplish far greater than they could imagine. It was the unwavering faith of our ancestors who brought us to this moment. They were able to see a future in America where their descendants would have full access to the American dream. They saw an America where Black people would no longer be considered subhuman, where we could vote, be represented by people who looked like us, where our children and grandchildren could go to school and go to the school of their choice and become whatever they wanted to become. They saw an America where future generations could thrive and not just survive. UVI, on this, your 62nd anniversary, as our ancestors glazed into the future, they saw you. Today, there are 101 accredited HBCUs in America, located in 19 states, the District of Columbia, in this beautiful, beautiful Caribbean island. HBCUs have a proud history and legacy of achievement. They were established to provide educational opportunities to former slaves and their descendants. On the yard of these great institutions, major social and political movements were born. As a result, scores of esteemed scholars, political leaders, business owners, entertainers, and public servants matriculated through these great institutions and literally changed the course of America. Although we make up only 3% of our nation's colleges and universities, we enroll 10% of African American students, or about 300,000 annually, and nearly 20% of the African American students who receive bachelor's degrees each year are HBCU graduates. Approximately 70% of our students are Pell eligible or come from low-income families, and approximately 40% are first-generation students. Despite long-term systemic barriers to accessing resources and opportunities, HBCUs continue to punch above their weight, generating over $15 billion in economic impact annually and nearly 150,000 jobs in the local and regional economies we serve. But our contributions and value to this nation go beyond the monetary. We have also shouldered the outsized burden of preparing America's diverse workforce. Consider this. Of all the Black federal judges today, 80% graduated from an HBCU. Of all the Black officers in the armed forces, Black PhDs, Black MDs, 75% graduated from an HBCU. Of all the Black dentists, 70%. Of all the Black teachers, engineers, and lawyers, over 50%. Of all the Black members of Congress, 40%. HBCUs have produced 25% of Black STEM graduates. And of all the Black and female vice presidents, 100% graduated from an HBCU. We often talk about historic underinvestment in HBCUs as if it happened many years ago, but that's not the case. Just a couple of years ago, a National Academies of Science report found that of the nearly $50 billion the federal government awards in research and development each year, less than 1%, or less than $500 million, go to all 101 HBCUs combined, so yes, we need to talk. That same year, Johns Hopkins was awarded $2.4 billion. I share this to simply demonstrate the impact that systemic inequities continue to have on our community. Yet, we continue to stand and continue to rise. We have the audacity to defy the odds, to grow stronger, and to outperform others in similar situations. W.B. Du Bois once said, "A system cannot fail those it was never designed to protect." The Biden-Harris administration is working diligently to rebuild a system that is fair, equitable, and inclusive, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because our nation's overall competitiveness depends on it. America simply cannot outcompete or out-innovate other nations without HBCUs. We are drivers of innovation. And I contend that America's ever-increasing problems cannot be fixed without HBCUs at the table. The health of our country, as well as the security of our nation, depend on us being there. Through President Biden's leadership, HBCUs have seen record investments. Since taking office, the Biden-Harris administration has invested over $7 billion in cumulative investment just through the Department of Education alone. We are working to reduce the burden of college debt. Since taking office, President Biden has forgiven the loans of 3.4 million Americans, totaling $117 billion. And we are not finished yet. We will keep on doing this. Also, under this administration, HBCUs are experiencing numerous firsts. For instance, for the first time ever, HBCUs will lead a Department of Defense university-affiliated research center. There are only 15 in the country. HBCUs were the 15th that was awarded one. For the first time ever, an HBCU will serve as a national lead for a university transportation center. Since the beginning of this administration, 43 HBCUs, including UVI, were chosen to participate in the Department of Commerce Connecting Minority Communities pilot program. This is a program that enhances broadband connection on and around our campuses. And considering that 80% of our universities are located in broadband deserts, This investment is a game changer for our communities. In his 2025 budget, President Biden has proposed even greater support for HBCUs and the students we serve, including increasing the maximum Pell Grant Award to $8,145. And he has plans, that's right, with plans to double Pell by 2029. His budget proposes funding for 2 years of free community college, which includes 4-year HBCUs if they are eligible. His budget also proposes $30 billion over 10 years for tuition assistance for students from families earning less than $125,000 annually. And these awards will go to students who go to HBCUs, tribal colleges, and other minority-serving institutions. So again, just trying our best to do whatever we can to reduce the financial burden of education. These are but a few examples of how the Biden-Harris administration is supporting our institutions through greater resources to build research capacity, enhance infrastructure on our campuses, and support our students. And even with the historic investment we have made over the last 3 years, we have a long way to go to close the funding and opportunity gaps between HBCUs and predominantly white institutions. But I'm convinced that HBCUs have come this far, and we ain't gonna turn back now. So I'm gonna close with the story that I heard recently, and it reminded me of the HBCU story. A 4-year-old little girl and her family were on a cruise ship. They were probably headed to St. Thomas. As the ship coasted across the ocean, the passengers were standing on the deck talking about the beauty of the sky and the ocean. The little girl couldn't see anything and began to whine. She said, "I can't see, I want to see." Her father tried to hush her, but she cried even louder. Finally, he lifted her on his shoulders, and now she was above everybody. And for the first time, she could see where the sky met the ocean. She became so excited and overwhelmed. She said, "Daddy, look." He asked, "What? What do you see?" She said, "Look, Daddy, look." He asked again, "What do you see?" All he could see was the ocean and the sky. She said, "Daddy, look, I can see farther than my eyes can look." On that day, a 4-year-old little girl defined the vision of our ancestors who believed in the power of education. The vision she saw was birthed by Quakers in Cheney, Pennsylvania, and it lives in this university today and in every HBCU. In 62 years, you have accomplished much. Your journey is the HBCU journey. Your vision is the vision of every HBCU. We are one community made up of 101 institutions and scores of students, faculty, alumni, and staff. Together, we stand as one powerful force, and we will continue to make our mark on the world. Thank you so much again for having me, and here's to the next 62 years.
Thank you, Dr. Trent. I noted earlier the impact of UVI, that it is students are provided small classes, but the opportunities to impact the world. And Dr. Trent pretty much said the same thing about HBCUs throughout the United States, and listed those statistics on the percentage of graduates from HBCUs throughout the military, education, et cetera, was impressive and should be shared throughout continuously as we tell our stories. So thank you, Dr. Trent. We will now have our final musical selection. We want to thank Dion Parson and friends. We will name the friends later. You did earlier, but your final musical selection. Thank you.
All right, as we wind down this part of our Charter Day celebration, that's just today. We have our Charter Day concert tomorrow at the Prior Hall at Antilles School, which will feature our music, all the ensembles in our music program, the concert choir, the concert band, the steel pan ensemble, our jazz combo, and then we put together a group to support Mr. Torre with his music. So I do hope you guys come out. The tickets are at the bookstore, $20 per person, $5 for students. So I hope to see everyone there tomorrow night. And then, of course, we have UVI on the Green, which is our big celebration. Everybody's going to come out and hang out there. So enjoy your Charter Day weekend. We're going to play this song that Steve wrote for his former boss, Mr. Ray Charles. And I think Steve mentioned it was your first professional gig, right? You were like, what, 17, 18 years old or something like that? No, a little bit older. 24, okay, 24. So we spend a lot of time touring on the road and sharing stories, but, you know, Ray's Collard Greens is like our Callaloo, so enjoy that. But it's going to feature this, I mentioned Steve is the recipient of the miscellaneous instrument, the award for the miscellaneous instrument by Downbeat, and he plays the conch shells. And can you hold up one of the shells so folks can see? Because this is a unique thing. And you mind playing it? So, I was born in Savannah, and I grew up in the morning hearing that sound when the Fishman came in. So when Steve called me to play with his conch shell orchestra, I was like, okay. But the interesting thing is, it works, and you're gonna hear it, it works, but he's toured the world, and I've toured the world with him doing this. And a matter of fact, he actually did a commission piece for the park services on St. John. Right, yeah, and we premiered that piece at Wolf Trap. Right, so sit back, enjoy Ray's Collard Greens, Mr. Steve Torre.
My UVI family, I am usually a woman of few words, and these last 2 hours have taken most of those away, right? That was awesome. Dean Engerman, Mr. Parson, do we see a class in the future playing the conch shell? Dr. Hall, please join us for closing.
Aren't you glad you go to UVI? Aren't you glad you work here? I mean, oh, this has been a wonderful and special moment for this institution and certainly for me personally. And my task here is to thank those individuals who helped bring this about and to allow us to exceed all standards and expectations. So I want to start out by thanking our keynote speaker, Dr. Trent, for traveling here, and we regret that you faced so much of a challenge and had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but it is well worth it, and we appreciate the sacrifice and the connection that has been created. So thank you very, very much. Always, we cannot do these things without our physical plan and security coming together to make sure the space is ready. Our external vendors who help to decorate the space is just so important, and we want to thank them. The desserts and other treats you will get later that comes about because of vendors, and we are so thankful for them. I certainly want to have you join me in thanking our MC for today, Charlene Harris. VP Harris is someone who contributes to this institution in so many ways. And I think if she had her druthers, she would like to make those contributions in a closet somewhere where she doesn't have to be out front. And the thing I've said to her over and over, you have just too much to offer to not have it on center stage. And I thank you for embracing that charge and serving as our MC. You are a natural. Thank you. Certainly want to thank all of our students who shared with us, from the communications students to our SGA president, to our White House Initiative Scholar, and so many other crowns and titles that you wear. And thank you for sharing your personal story. It is, I know, difficult, but it is just so powerful because it gives us a better understanding of who you are and what you've achieved. So thank you for having the courage to do that. Thank you. Lorna Freeman. Yeah, you could stay on the phone. But I want to thank you for coming away from your job and being here to sing for us and to just elevate us. I had the privilege and honor of having her sing at my inauguration, and 15 years later, she is still singing to me. She's singing to all of you as well. But she is singing to me, and I appreciate that greatly. Your voice has gotten only more beautiful over the years. Thank you very much. Words cannot capture how blessed we have been by the music that we have received today. I want to enter into my thanks by sharing with you, some of you may have heard of the writer Stephen Covey. he wrote a wonderful book called The 7 Habits of Effective People. And what he tries to do, or what he does in that book, is to indicate things we need to remember if we want to be effective leaders. And one of them is keeping the end in mind. And one of the exercises that he has students and others do is to write your eulogy. And I know that seems very morbid, but what he is trying to say is if you want to have a productive and successful life, then write what you want people to say when you pass away. And I went through that exercise many years ago when I was teaching the class. So I'm going to have to go back and revise my eulogy so that it says the most important thing that David Hall ever did was recruit Dion Parson and Sherwin Williams to UVI. Other than Maryland, what else matters? But I want to thank you for your leadership and to thank all of the musicians who have shared with us today and just lifted our spirits. There's something powerful about music and how it transforms us, and we experienced it today. It is the essence of how our spirits soar. And finally, I want to thank the President's Office staff, Una Dyer, Gail Steele, Jessica LaPlace, Jessica Taylor. These individuals are magic makers, and they work so extremely hard to bring about this day and so many other things. And so I first would ask that you just join me in thanking the 4 of them for an outstanding But I do need to celebrate their leader and boss and say a few more words. Una Dyer is an amazing person. And I know in my life I've had many, many blessings. And my lovely wife here is a good example of that. But one of the other blessings that I have received at this university is being able to have Una Dyer at my side, helping me move this institution forward. It is still amazing to me how she does all of the things that she is charged to do. And Charter Day is one of those special things that she is responsible for pulling together. Clearly with the team, but coming up with the program, coming up with what we're going to do, trying to make it very, very special for you, but also for herself. You were all blown away by Steve and what he did with these conch shells. That's Una Dyer. She came to me and said, "You know the guy who played a few years ago? I want him back." And I said, "Well, ask Dion. I mean, he's the person who brought him before." And then she came back, "Well, Dion says we can do it, but he's not in town like he was before." So she wanted him to be here, to be a part of this experience so that all of us could be blessed. And so it's for that and for so many other things that please join me in giving Una Dyer another round of applause. And then finally, all of you, for taking time out of your schedules, for coming and being a part of this. Dr. Jopsis, thank you for coming and sharing about the accomplishments of our marine science program. But without you being here, this day would not really be special. Professor Honoree, for inspiring our students, working with them. These are just small examples of what is happening day in and day out at the institution, and we just get to highlight a little bit of it at Charter Day. So thank you again from the depths of my heart. Thanks to all of those who shared words and provided songs that were specifically directed towards me. I appreciate that very, very much. This has been a wonderful journey, and to have individuals pour back some of that into your soul is the greatest treasure of it all. So thank you all for this special moment. Charlene, do I turn it back over to you?
He actually turns it back over to Una because she gave me a list. And so I thank Dr. Karen Carty and Donna Andrews of the Sports and Fitness Center, Denise Humphrey and the Reichel Center for the Arts team, Astrid Tewitt, Sophia Johnson, and the Institutional Advancement and Alumni teams, now led by Interim Vice President Pamela Mulliner-Wersey, Tamika Thomas-Williams and the Public Relations team, the Deans of Students, Dr. Colvin Georges and Dr. Leslyn Tung and their offices, Dean Engerman, of course, and the class programs. We had communications and music. Aaliyah Boston and Cleone Boston, her mother. The Information Services team, ITS, on St. Thomas and St. Croix, thank you. All of our musicians, Steve Toure, Lorna Freeman, Sherwin Williams, Uriel Rogers, Carlton Holmes, Dion Parson, Chair of the Communication and Performing Arts Department, Amy Moncheray and RJ Felix, our trustees, Dr. Christensen for visiting with us today, Dr. Haptis, thank you. Of course, Dr. Hall already thanked our keynote. Let's see, Senator Blyden, thank you, and thank you each and every one of you. We are not done yet. Last and final is singing Alma Mater by the Sea, led by Dion Parson and friends, after which, please do not leave. We have refreshments for you. Thank you again.
Tower